Trust? It's not friendship. It's not love. It's not something you hand out like candy to starving children. Trust is a currency. And in this world, a world built by wolves, thieves, and silent kings, every currency must be backed by something real, something painful. Let me tell you what most men never understand. A handshake means nothing if your hand trembles. A promise means nothing if it wasn't forged in fire. When I say I trust a man, it means I've seen him bleed and not run. It means he's been tested when nobody was watching and he didn't fold. In the underworld, we don't give trust, we lease it. And the interest rate is survival. You see, amateurs think trust is earned with words, with smiles, with charm. They think saying, "I got your back," is enough to make them seem reliable. But when the bullets fly, charm turns to cowardice, smiles vanish. And that trustworthy man, he's halfway out the door, making excuses in his head before the trigger's even pulled. Let me give you a metaphor, something real. In the streets, there's this guy, Salvatore. Slick, handsome, could talk the skirt off a nun. Everyone loved him, said he was loyal, said he was family. Then one night, the heat came down on our crew. Sirens screaming red and blue, flashing like the gates of hell. You know what Salvatore did? He ran, left his brother behind, didn't even look back. You know what his last words to me were before that night? "Don't worry, I'm 10 toes down." 10 toes? That bastard couldn't keep 2 feet on the ground when shit got hot. So what's the lesson? Simple. Trust is not what you say when you're calm. It's what you do when you're cornered. And if you build your identity on anything else, you're not a man. You're a fantasy, a paper tiger. In our circles, we verify before we trust. We test a man by giving him nothing. No guidance, no applause, just silence and a problem. Then we watch how he moves, what he prioritizes, how he reacts when there's no credit, no stage, no witnesses. Most men fail. And you, if nobody trusts you, it's because you've failed these tests too many times. You talked too much. You smiled when you should have stared. You made promises with lips instead of proving them with scars. A man who understands the currency of trust lives by a different code. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't beg to be believed. He understands this one truth. You don't ask for trust. You prove you're dangerous to betray. And that's the part most of you don't want to hear. You want to be liked. You want to be trusted without putting in the pain. You want validation without the dark nights alone, fixing the reputation you burned for convenience. But there's no shortcut. You want real trust? Then start by shutting up. Don't announce your loyalty. Don't swear allegiance. Prove through consistency, through presence, through sacrifice, that betraying you comes with a price. If the people around you don't flinch when your name is brought up in a dangerous context, then congratulations, you've become trustworthy. Not because you said so, but because you became a man who makes betrayal look like suicide. And that is the currency I deal in. You don't lose trust like a car crash. You lose it like a cancer, quiet, unnoticed, until everything inside is dead. Most men walk around wondering why nobody believes them, why every promise sounds hollow, why every vow is met with a nod and nothing more. They think it's bad luck or jealousy or the world being unfair. But here's the truth, figlio mio. They burned their credibility inch by inch, sin by sin, betrayal by betrayal. So small, they didn't even feel it. It starts with the lie you told because it was easier. You said you'd be there at 8, but showed up at 8:20. You apologized, blamed traffic, smiled it off. But that little delay, it spoke louder than your excuse. It said, "My word bends." Next time, you said you'd handle something, a job, a favor, a responsibility. You forgot, or you half-assed it. And again, you apologized. You always apologize. But apologies don't rebuild trust. They reveal that you failed to protect it. And that's the sickness most men carry. They don't realize that every small failure to show up, every missed deadline, every broken word, it piles up, quietly, like dust on a coffin. Let me tell you what I learned from old Don Pietro, a man who built an empire without ever raising his voice. He told me once, loyalty doesn't break with the big betrayal. It dies from 1,000 whispers. What he meant is simple. A man doesn't lose trust because of one huge betrayal. He loses it because people start to notice he always has a reason, a justification, a soft exit. You think nobody noticed when you bailed on your brother's move? You think it didn't matter when you promised to follow up with that guy, but got busy? You think skipping leg day, cheating on your diet, flaking on your goals is just a personal flaw? No, ragazzo, those are your little betrayals. They are proof. They are your silent reputation, being carved while you sleep. Because here's how real men watch. We don't listen to what you say. We study what you tolerate in yourself. If you can betray your own discipline, your own standards, your own honor, why the hell would I trust you with mine? Let me tell you another thing. The man who betrays small eventually betrays big. Because what rots in the corner will one day stink up the whole room. If a man cuts corners when no one's looking, eventually he'll cut your throat when no one's watching. The little betrayals are the red flags. And the people around you, they've seen them. You think they're not judging you when you're inconsistent, when you overpromise, when you forget? They are, quietly, ruthlessly, like wolves sniffing weakness. You want to change that? Good. Then you kill the habit of disappointing others casually. You treat your word like your weapon, loaded, precise, dangerous. You make every commitment small enough to keep and big enough to matter. And you stop lying to yourself that it's not a big deal. Because if they don't trust you, it's not because they're blind. It's because they've been watching you, and you keep showing them exactly why they shouldn't. You want to know how real men test loyalty? We don't ask questions. We don't hand out surveys. We don't say, "Are you with me?" We do something colder, something older. We go silent. No instructions, no reassurance, no check-ins. We disappear. We retreat into the shadows and leave a gap in the room. And then we watch. Because silence is the stage where loyalty performs naked. Most men can act loyal when there's a crowd, when there are benefits, when the sun is out and the table is full. But when the room gets cold, when nobody is watching, when the job isn't glamorous, that's when a man's real soul walks out. I call it the silence test. Every soldier in my circle, every brother, every associate, every protero, they've been through it. I vanish. I leave them with a task, a pressure, a choice. And I watch from the shadows. Some hold the line, some crack, and some vanish too. You want to know who a man really is? Don't look at how he treats you when you're strong. Look at how he moves when he thinks you're gone. The way a man behaves when no applause is promised, that's who he is. A real man doesn't need supervision. He doesn't need reminders. He doesn't need to be watched. Because he's not acting for you. He's not pretending. His loyalty isn't performance. It's a reflection of who he sees in the mirror. I remember a young capo once, full of fire, always talking about how loyal he was. Every week he'd call me, update me, ask what else he could do. Loud, eager. So I gave him silence. No calls, no orders, just a mission. delicate, lonely, invisible. For weeks, he heard nothing from me, and after 3 weeks, he quit, ghosted the mission, said it felt pointless. You see, the silence exposed him, not because I told him anything, but because the absence of attention dried up his sense of purpose. He wasn't loyal. He was just addicted to approval. That's most of you. You're loyal as long as someone's watching. You do the work as long as there's praise. But the moment the applause stops, so does your consistency. That's why they don't trust you. That's why your word doesn't mean shit. Because people sense it. You only move when there's music. You're a performer, not a soldier. So here's what you do. You build your loyalty in silence. You train yourself to act without validation. You show up when no one calls. You protect what's sacred even when there's no witness. And you never beg to be seen. Because loyalty is not about being rewarded. It's about being undeniable. And when you've passed the silence test, they'll know. They won't say it, but you'll feel it. Respect will follow you like a shadow. Quiet, cold, permanent. And anyone who tries to test you after that, they'll only do it once. Loyalty sounds beautiful until it bleeds. Everybody says they're loyal. Everybody swears they'll ride or die. But when the walls start sweating and the silence turns heavy, that's when the truth steps out. And sometimes the truth cuts deep enough to bury. There was a man once. Let's Chamalo DeMarco. He wasn't just crew, he was family. Grew up with me, ate at my table, called my mother Mama Rosa like she was his own. We started young, hustling scraps, earning respect the hard way. And when the family took notice, they brought us in together. He was good, sharp, fast, loyal, or so I thought. He was there when the blood ran. He was there when we took our first fall. We did time, stayed silent, never snitched. I vouched for him. I put my name on his. But one night, things went sideways. We had heat on us from the feds. A wire, a rat, someone close. And I needed answers. Quietly, I started checking phones, tracing movements. And what I found, it wasn't loud. It wasn't obvious. It was one text, one message. 4 words. They won't find it. Sent from Marco's burner to a number we didn't own. I remember sitting in my office, staring at that screen. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. Because betrayal, when it's real, doesn't shock you. It disappoints you. It confirms every quiet doubt you ignored. I called him in. Didn't yell. Didn't accuse. Just asked him how he'd been. He smiled. Told me he was solid. I looked him in the eyes and saw the coward. He knew. He felt it. He broke. I didn't kill him that night. That would have been too easy. I made him walk out that door knowing he was marked, knowing that every shadow, every sound behind him could be the last. 3 days later, they found him, alone, slumped in his car, engine running, eyes open, no torture, no spectacle, just closed, like a book that disappointed the reader. You think I'm cold for that? Maybe I am. But here's what you need to understand. A betrayal is not just about you. It's not just about the lie. It's about the ripple it sends through the trust you built with others. When a man you vouched for folds, it stains your name too. And in our world, hell, in any world, your name is all you've got. So, what did I learn that night? I learned that loyalty dies quietly. It doesn't scream, it just fades. One bad choice, one weak moment, and years of brotherhood turn into dirt on a coffin. I still visit his grave sometimes, not out of love. That's gone. Out of duty. because even a traitor has a story, and every story is a warning to those who think betrayal is a choice without a cost. You want to be trusted again? Then understand this. If you ever broke that trust, someone had to bury a piece of themselves because of you. Your redemption doesn't begin with apology. It begins with a lifetime of proof that you'd rather die than do it again. And if you haven't betrayed anyone yet, hold on to that discipline like a rosary made of blades, because once the soil closes, some names don't come back, so you burned the bridge. You made the promise and broke it. You said you were solid, but you folded. And now, when you enter the room, no one looks up. No one listens. No one believes a damn thing you say. That's the price. And it's not unfair. It's justice. But here's the good news. A man can rebuild. Not with speeches, not with tears, not with begging. Only with one thing, presence. Cold, consistent, relentless presence. You don't fix your name by explaining yourself. You fix it by becoming too dangerous to doubt again. Let me be clear. If people don't trust you, it's not their job to give you a second chance. It's your job to become undeniable. To move so silently, so precisely, so consistently, that even your enemies start to hesitate. How? You begin by going ghost. Disappear from the noise, from the circles where you ruined your credibility. Stop trying to make things right with words. Let silence wrap around you like armor. Next, you build. In solitude, in shadows, in the dark hours when nobody is watching, you rebuild your routines, your body, your discipline, your code. Every promise you made to others, forget them. Start keeping the ones you made to yourself. Because if you can't trust your own word, why the hell should anyone else? This is the part where most men fail. They want results faster than they deserve. They think one good week erases a year of lies. They think showing up once means they're back. No, ragazzo, reputation doesn't return like a lover. It returns like a ghost. Only when the blood is right. You'll know you're on the path when people start whispering again. But this time, not in doubt, in curiosity. They'll say, "You seen him lately? He's different, quieter, sharper." And they won't know if they should respect you or fear you. Good. Let that ambiguity grow. Let your silence become heavier than their gossip. Because when you resurrect your word, you don't do it with declarations. You do it with demonstrations. Show up early, stay late, say less, produce more, never explain. Let results be your apology. Let consistency be your confession. Let cold execution be your only sermon. Eventually, the people who stopped trusting you, they'll look at you with different eyes. Not because they forgive you, but because they can no longer deny you. And that's stronger than forgiveness. That's dominance. So no, you don't fix your name by speaking, you fix it by becoming so locked in, so unbreakable, that trust doesn't have to be offered. It becomes a survival instinct for others to give it back. Because when a man truly rises from the ashes, the fire doesn't make him loud. It makes him silent, focused, and untouchable. You talk loyalty, but fold like paper when shit gets real. That's why they don't trust you. But the ones who rebuild, they don't come back the same. They come back heavier, darker, quieter. And when they walk into a room, even God leans in to listen.